Hello, Premium Gang. Scott G here. Hope everybody's having a great day. It's beautiful here in Atlanta. I don't know if you can see over my shoulder there the sunshine. It's about 70 degrees today, so not too hot, not too cold. Absolutely perfect. About 75, I think, is perfect, but I'll take 70 degrees any day. We'll give everybody just a minute to kind of get logged in. Says there's 4 of you in here already. So welcome. You guys can let me know who's here if you wish, if you're able to. I know some of you may be at work. We've got ES right here on the screen. Looks like, let's see here. We've got 28, 59, 25. Okay, looks like we might be possibly going to try a reversal here. We'll see how it plays out. Because what we did is we just barely poked our head outside of this candle here. Sort of formed a dragonfly doji. We've already taken the top of it out. And if we come all the way back through here, that would be a reversal, but you would enter right here. If you come all the way back through, that would be a reversal. Perfect reversal pattern. What's up, Todd Father? Good to see you, bud. Just watching ES here to start to see if we're going to possibly pull off this reversal like quick. We'll see. Again, we looked it up one of our last live stream sessions. You know, I actually brought the notes up, but this is textbook reversal pattern, but we'll see if it actually follows through. Obviously, it's got to get over this 2867.50 resistance level, but we're just barely below here, so that counts, right? Just like I say with inside candles, if you're barely outside, you're not inside. But if you just barely get outside and then you form either a hammer if you're reversing to the upside, or a shooting star, or a variation thereof, right? A dragonfly doji is a variation of a hammer, just like a gravestone doji is a variation of a shooting star. So whatever this is here, we go outside of it, we come back in, we form, in this case, a dragonfly doji. We take out the top, and we're seeing if we can reverse all the way back through the range and get higher. Makes for a scalping opportunity, and we'll pay attention and see what happens. Hey, Cathal, Riz, good to see you guys. It says we got 5 in here now, so that's pretty good. Hope everybody's been having a good day. Hopefully you've taken some profitable trades. Obviously, I already put in there that I had a nice win on Tilray. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes. The market itself, as you can see, here's where we opened, right? We opened at 28.49, and we've been as high as 28.71.75. Okay, so just a little bit over 20 bucks. What is that? 22.75. So almost $23. Not really a big range, right? Not kind of what we would expect for a Monday. I think there was a lot of people thought we were going to see fireworks one way or the other, either up or down. Had a lot of folks that I know on my social media thought we were going to be down today, And then I saw a few people that were predicting, you know, that we might test 3,000 today. So now 3,000, let's see, that'd be 151 points. I don't know that I thought we would test 3,000, but I was leaning. Again, I'm not trying to predict anything. I was leaning towards that the market would probably go up, just based on some of the things that I seen. You know, a lot of the candle formations on a lot of the names, and I mean we're up, but not significantly, right? We're you know, even at our highest, we're only up about $22, $23. Let's see, that next level's up at 29.0125. That's if we could break through here and go higher. Plus, we'd have to look and see if there's anything that could be an obstacle to the left. But you know, my gut feeling was that we were going to go higher today. Excuse me. But again, I'm never trying to predict anything, because you know, you could open up and they could start flushing the market, and you don't ever want to have a bias. Now, when I said I had a feeling, again, that was based on candle structure that I seen on a lot of different names. There was a lot of names that I felt were set up to go higher. That's why I had a feeling we may go higher. No matter what, you're always going to have some names that go down, some names that go up. But whatever the market does, I mean, typically, like you look over here, see our advancers, we're in that extremely bullish zone, 2463. And that's pretty close to where we opened up the day. And then it dipped down all the way near 2000 at one point. And I thought, oh boy, we're gonna turn around here and reverse and head lower, and we never did. Now, again, okay, we know why, because so many names gapped up. But then that number, the advancers, slowly turned around and started climbing again. And as it started to climb, the market just gradually, except for this candle here, gradually just worked its way up. And up here was the high. Then it kind of just pulled back a little bit. Now it seems like it's trying to work its way higher again. Are we going to get any kind of a pop? Don't know. I mean, if we were, it would come above here, right? It would come above here. So let me make this a little bit closer for you. Make it so it looks a little bit better. I don't like it when the candles are all smashed. Stretch it a little bit. So if we can get above 2867.50, then get above here, and then get above here, right? Okay, we might be able to see some kind of a little pop. Let's go ahead and look at a higher time frame. Let's look at the 1 hour first. Okay, this may give us what we need. All right, so we got to get above 2874.25 here. Over here is 2877.25, so you got to get above that. We have to get above this right here, which is 2884, and then 2885. So sort of a little, you know, we could almost draw a little rectangle there just to show the area that we would have to get through to then go up to 2901. Yeah, nothing really after that. Okay, so based on where we're at now, okay, we'd have to get through 2867.50. Then you just scroll over here, and we'd have to take this out, this out, this out, and this out. Which, if we look at them closer, okay, none of them are really big wicks. None of them are. I mean, you maybe call that one a medium-sized wick, but most of these are smaller wicks. So I mean, it's possible if we got some upwards momentum that we could see that, right? We could see a little pop maybe before the end of the day. But we'll watch, right? We'll be on here a little bit, and then I'm sure you guys will be watching. But back to the 30-minute here. You see we keep struggling right here at 28.6750. Keep struggling. We go right up to it and pull back, right up to it and pull back. But again, we're set up for a reversal. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but we are set up. Okay, so we came down just below here. We come back up. We form the hammer. We take out the top of the hammer. Now, to complete the reversal, you have to take out the top of this. And if we take out the top of this, it probably would be highly likely that we could get over that. And then we might be able to see a little burst, up, a few points and go from there. So let's do this. Let's put an alert just above this candle here. That'll let us know if it gets above there. And then if it reverses and starts to go down, we'll put an alert right here. And then we can go look at some other things in the meantime. All right. So oil, let's look at oil just since it's right here. So oil, again, is tanking, right? Here was the start of the day. I'm talking about the new week. So this was 6 o'clock last night, and you can see it just followed the 20 right down. See that? There's nowhere where it broke and held above the 20. And then finally down here, it rounded, kind of got a rounded bottom, started working its way back up right here to the resistance line. And then it put in a shooting star, and now it looks like it's trying to go lower. So not a good sign. For oil. I mean, unless you're short. If you're short oil, that's a great sign, right? Let's see. We opened up at 1684, and at 9 o'clock this morning, we were as low as 1188. So almost $5. And again, those of you who trade oil, $1,000 a contract is what you make. So in one day, or half a day, however you want to put it, $5,000 right there if you're playing it short. Not bad. Not a bad day's work if you can get it, right? So that's oil. Although I haven't been trading oil recently other than when I took that loss on USO. But I'm talking about the futures. I thought I saw where it said they were going to raise the price of futures contracts on oil. Let's do this. Let's see. I'm going to see what the options are first. Okay, so if you're going short, it's 24, 29, 26. It's fluctuating a lot, but between 26 to 2,900 per contract. That's to play the options. Which, you want to see something scary, look at the spreads. The spreads are crazy. But I think I read that the standard contracts we're going to go up in value because of the increased volatility that it's had lately. And they were already expensive to begin with. So if you're somebody who trades oil, that's not something you wanted to see. Okay, there we see it starting to go down here, right? We took out the low of this shooting star. We would expect it. Well, I guess you could say we have the 20, so it'd have to get below the 20, but you'd expect it to at least get to the bottom of this candle. And then if it cleared that, you've got a nice little setup here to possibly continue lower. Like I said, this is not a good looking sign for oil. Not at all. All right, let's look at Y10. We're going to look at some names that were on our list today, our watch list. So Y10 was one that I identified this morning for our small account growth watch list. As you can see, it's been as high as 10.15. Every time it made a new high, I just kept excuse me, I just kept putting an alert up higher and higher. So this alert doesn't necessarily mean anything. It's just higher than the highest point of the day. So I've done that a couple different times just so it always alerts me when price is going higher. So the entry was down here at 8.05, $8.05. And we had this initial spike, which gave us it was just over $1. It was like $1.04. So there was your initial spike, and that's really all I would expect anybody to play. And I know several of you played Y10 this morning because you guys posted that you played it. I want to say somebody got 80 some cents, and somebody said they got a 10% gain. I think somebody else might have got 30 cents or 32 cents. I'm just going off memory, but any of that's good, right? That's what these are for, to build your account. Not just a small account, any size account, but we call them small account growth builders. And we're just looking for that initial pop. So we got it. We got what we were looking for. And like I said last week, on these small account growth names, some days I might have 3, some days I might have 5. It just depends. 3, 4, 5 is kind of usually what I'm going to have, whatever I can find. And if one of them pops, that's good, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen. Let's look at, I think it was AU, or was it AYTU? AYTU? Yeah, AYTU. All right, so here's one that didn't pop. Nothing to do. Nothing to do. See, I have my alert set up here. Okay, we ramped up in the pre-market, came back down. Right before they opened, it started to ramp again, and then nothing. Nothing, right? So there's nothing to do. And remember, why do we want the pre-market highs to be taken out? Because we want to see that there's other interest in the name. And typically, if it's going to get up here, take this out and go higher, that means there's going to be some bigger money involved as well. And whenever bigger money is involved, we've got a better chances of success. So, we definitely, I was watching a video, and I don't think it was this weekend. It might have been last weekend or a week or two ago. And it was about playing like some of these smaller names. And the person who was doing the video, somebody had typed in and asked the guy a question. And they said, well, why are you always looking for names that have unusual volume? And why are you always looking for, blah, blah, blah. But let's just talk about that, the unusual volume. So the guy, because the person was like, I've seen names that only have 10,000 or 20,000 shares go up $2 or $3. And the guy was like, yeah, is that possible? Absolutely. But would you want to be in a name that's only trading 10 to 20,000 shares when you might have 1,000 or 500 of those shares? It's going to be hard to get in and out at any type of a good price. So I'm just making it up, but let's just say you're in a name like this and it does go up on low volume, right? And $2 and let's say $2.40, and maybe you have 500 shares of it or 1,000 shares of it, because that'd only be 1,000, couple $1,000, and it starts to go up, and then you can't get out, and then to get out you have to come all the way back down to either break even or sometimes lose money. That's entirely possible on a low volume, low price name. So that's another reason we don't want to get involved. Okay, can you trade this in here? Let's just say it starts to pop and comes down and never takes it out, but maybe it moves up 40, 50 cents. Can you trade that? You can, but that's not showing a whole lot of interest, right? There was definitely big money interest here. Okay, you see how it was trading. See this? not doing anything, right? Down there around $1.20. And then today it had a news catalyst. Okay, all I got to do is click on the news. All right, had something to do with COVID-19, right? Which is going to make almost anything pop. Some kind of development deal. All right, and it has to do with coronavirus. So you just mentioned COVID-19 and anything positive, and you're probably going to pop. So overnight, right, it goes from like 120-ish, 140-ish, pops clear up to 234, then it sells back down. We get this little pop here, but then it doesn't do anything. All right, I don't want to be involved in something like that because this shows us the big money interest is gone. Right? They're no longer interested. We want more, and it doesn't necessarily have to be big institutions, but we want big money involved, and we want to see that they're interested to help drive this thing on up. And that's how, like when you get a name like Y10 today, right? That's why we got what we got. Okay? Here's where it drove it up after hours, back down, back up. Okay? Then this first candle didn't do much, and then here, pop, comes back down, doesn't do much, and then here, pops again. Now, can you play these secondary pops? Yes, you can. I don't typically, I'm not normally interested in that. I guess somebody could say, well, wait a minute, it never got back below the 20. That's true, right? I just don't typically play these names as a momentum play, even for a day trade. Because at any time, and you guys have seen this since we've been doing this, at any time, they can just turn around and just totally fade and go, back down to $1.20 or whatever. So I don't like to play them as a momentum play. I know some traders who they're into these type of things, and this is all they ever play. I don't suggest that, and they will try to play these pullbacks. Okay, like here, when it came back here and then started to go up, when it got back up to opening price, they would be entering, and then when this started to come back, they would sell, and then when it comes back, pulls back to here and starts to go up, they enter again. That's a little bit risky, in my opinion, because I'm not a huge risk taker to begin with, and I don't want you guys to be, because I know a lot of you, have smaller accounts. So I don't think that's wise to try to play it throughout the day. We try to get the pop, we get out, and we move on to safer plays. All right. Let me think about some other names. Shop. Okay, now shop is not something that everybody can afford. I totally get it. But it is a good habit for you, not just me, you, because you need to learn how to do this on your own, to identify high quality plays. Excuse me, I'm a little nasally today. It was cold here yesterday, windy and cold, and I was outside. I walked and I was playing catch with my 6-year-old, and I'm a little bit nasally today, so I apologize about that. All right, so let's look at shop. So shop gapped up. I'll get in even closer. Gapped up and then basically has sold off the rest of the day. And so here's where it gapped up. And this is why I wanted to start with shop. Was there anything to do with shop to the long side? No. And why? Because it didn't go up. See where it opened? It never went up. You'd have a wick there. All it's done has moved down throughout the day. I mean, other than this little thing here, and that was an inside candle. All it's done is move down. Now, there are different ways of playing this. The conservative way, and when I put in the room that you could have made over 26 bucks to the downside, that was from our trigger. So that was taking out, the low side. I'll show you. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so yesterday, Oh, I take that back. I take that back. I'm trying to think where I had the, because it was an outside candle. Let me figure out where I had my trigger set going back the other way. What was it? I have to look it up. Give me 1 second, guys. I think I know what it was, but I want to make sure. 652.03. 652.03. Right there. Okay. So what it was when price came back through into the range of the outside candle. So that's where you would go short on something like this. So this was yesterday. So here's your outside candle. All right. Even though this is a 30-minute, see it's higher and lower than the previous day's entire range. So if we're on the daily, this is your outside candle right here. Okay. So the trigger, if you gap up and you do not go higher, if you gap up and start to go higher, you can enter right away. And your stop then could be right at opening price, and then you could move it up as price goes up. Okay? We'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along here. But price immediately, it never went up. It started to go down. All right? So where could your trigger be when you enter into the range of the outside candle that you just gapped above? You could enter short. And then you stay short as long as you can, and as you can see, it's still been going down. It's still been going down. So you could just keep moving your stop down, moving your stop down. Once you get a certain amount of the way down, okay, here was that previous day, and we went outside of it. But once you start getting like a certain amount down, I mean, it's probably not going to turn around, right? Price is trying to move from side to side. Expand the range, right? Expand the range. So let's go back to the daily. It's easier to see. Okay, there's your outside candle right here. And see what I mean about price is trying to come back through? So we know that it wants to then, because this is an outside candle, what does an outside candle create? An expanding range. You can, let's do it like this. I'm not going to leave these on here, but, all right. An outside candle creates an expanding range. So we know that price probably wants to come test the other side of this, which would be right around here or just below. Excuse me. So even though it gapped up, it never went higher. It just started down and it's still going. I mean, you got just this tiny little wick down here right now. And it's probably at some point, maybe not today, might be tomorrow, right? Or might be a couple days from now, it's going to want to test the bottom of this. An outside candle, especially on a daily or weekly, creates an expanding range. And if price doesn't continue higher and starts coming back into the range, you can take that trade right there where it starts coming back into the range. And then just as it moves, like I had put in the room, it had already moved like $26 to the downside from the trigger. You know, once it had moved like $5, you could have moved your stop a couple dollars into profit. And once it had moved 10, maybe move it a couple of more. And once it had moved 15, maybe move it a couple more. And then if it starts to come back against you, then you could either just stop out and take your profit, or, you know, you move your stop down somewhere where you feel comfortable. And then if it starts to reverse, it just stops you out. You make your profit, right? So I hope you guys see that. And I know it's hard to understand expanding ranges, but all it takes, especially like on a weekly, well, even a monthly, but we don't swing trade. That'd be more swing trades. If you're trying to take out a monthly outside candle, that could take literally months and months or even a year sometimes to take out both sides of a monthly outside candle. But a daily or a weekly, and this is a daily one, okay, it immediately, as soon as it goes outside, it's creating a broadening triangle. See that? As soon as it goes outside. Okay, it is the definition of an expanding range. All right, I accidentally let my phone shut off. All right, so now if we come back to the 30-minute, okay, see how different it looks? All right, so we went from here down to here, back up to here, and now we're moving back down. So, I mean, I will leave these. I said I wasn't going to leave them on there. I will leave these on there. Okay, here is your outside candle. Right here was your outside candle that went outside of this. And that's what created our expanding range. Okay. Let's see. What was the next one I wanted to look at? Let's look at Netgear. I know Kelsey's in this. I don't know if anybody else is. Oh, it almost got up there. I told Kelsey in the room, she was asking me where I would have a take profit target, and I said 2280. That's why I have an alert there. It got up to 2276 within 4 pennies of where I said and the reason I came up with this number is it's 50% of this over here, right? So we know when you have these big chaotic candles that quite frequently you're at least going to retrace 50% of it at some point. Okay, so that's why I said 2280. She had 2340, which is the top of this candle. It's up here, right there, top of this candle, which I told her I knew where she was coming up with that, and that's fine. And maybe if you're maybe playing that more like, hey, might not be there today, and I feel good enough to hold a day or two, that's a great target, right? Because that's what I would do. Like if I was holding it for a couple of days, I probably would have 2340 as my target, or just below there, 2335 or something like that. So I know where she got it, and that's a good place to have a target. But if you're playing it as a day trade, I just felt more conservative would be right around 2280. Now, it may bust through here at the end of the day. I mean, it all depends on what the overall market does. If the overall market all of a sudden starts to turn up, maybe Netgear busts up, right? And gets a pop at the end of the day and gets up there. But if it was me and I got up above 2280, I'd probably go ahead and lock it in. You could always look to do something else, but that's Netgear. So Netgear has definitely went our way, and I know Kelsey was asking about the options. Yeah, Cathal. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Like when you have these chaotic candles and they're within the recent past, which see this was only a couple days ago, it just makes sense. And that was an alert saying that ES is going higher, so that's a good sign for anybody who's long. 50% retracement of a big move or a chaotic candle is a great take profit target because it happens a lot. 70-75% of the time, you're going to retrace 50%. So the odds are in your favor. The odds are not in your favor on, like, say, a short-term move that you're going to retrace all of it. That happens a small percentage of the time. Now, will it eventually get there? Sure, right? Sure. But, or I shouldn't say sure because it might not, right? There's stocks that are $300 that drop all the way down to $20 and never go back up. But you know what I'm saying here. You have this big move. Is it likely that we'll get back up there at some point? Yes. It just might not be today. Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's a very good strategy, is to have take profit targets of 50% of a big move or a chaotic candle. So I'm hoping for Kelsey, we got our fingers crossed for you, Kelsey, that this continues up. You can get out with a profit. Oh, that's what we were starting to talk about. So she was, talking about how crazy the options were, because she's now only at break even. She was in profit, but it's higher now than when she was, down here and in profit. Well, obviously, anybody who plays options a lot, we know what's going on. Is once you stall out like this, right through here, okay, you're going to start to lose, right? Premium is always decaying. It's always, now today's only a Monday, and it still can be decaying. Let's see, give me 1 second here. The implied volatility on these options aren't crazy. I mean, 55 is, anything over 50 they consider to be higher, right? And then once you go over 75, it's really considered high. And anything up near 100 or anything like that. If you look over here, it'll tell you these are for these options right here. It's 55.58%. So that is considered higher, anything over 50. So the higher the volatility, the more it will decay on you if price stalls out, like it did right through here. And, we talk about it all the time. You could be in it. The worst thing if you're an options trader is if you're in a name and it just slowly melts up, because it can go in your direction and you never make money. You never make money, or you make just a tiny little bit when, over the course of now these were good moves, right? All of this here was good. But then from here across, it just sort of stalled out, even though it's sort of moving up. It's moving up so slow. You want these kind of moves right here. Okay, we want this. This is what we want to see. Once you start getting this and you're playing options, now you're in trouble. So sometimes, that's another reason I'm conservative, because I do play options most of the time. I play shares too, but that's why I'm conservative, right? I have earlier take profit targets, or if you start getting in a situation like this, you might as well just get out, especially if you're in profit. It might be a littler profit, but just get out. Take your money and move on. All right, so that's Netgear. Let me think of some of the other names. Let's see, I know this was on our list. Okay, CODX. Now CODX, see what it did. Okay, let's go to the daily because it'll be easier. All right, so CODX, we had an inside candle, and we obviously gapped above and went higher. Okay, so here, this gives you 2 chances to make money. Okay, gapped higher, then it reversed. Let's see, it went up over 75 cents. Okay, from where it opened here, went up. So you could have made money there, right? Then now it's been trying to come back through the range. And it ran in, excuse me, ran into this 20. Let's see if it ever got all the way down. 75, 70, not quite. It didn't quite get all the way through because it ran into the 20, but it came within 4 cents of becoming a single candle power reversal, right? So, a couple of ways to play this. The really aggressive way to play it is when you get a move up, then it turns around and you get out. Once it takes out the open, you could enter right there. Or you could wait until you take out the top of this candle's range and you're looking to come back through the range. So super aggressive play up here. Okay, went up, you could have got money up here. Then it starts coming back down through, and once it clears and holds the opening price level, right? You could have your purple dashed line drawn across there if you want, because we're on the daily. Once it goes through there, you could enter short, and then try to go all the way back through the range if it goes. This came within 4 cents, and it still may get all the way through the range. And if it does, right? If it does, then we know it's going to be another outside candle. But look at this, outside candle here. So let's talk about our broadening triangles. Look at that, right where it should be. Okay, and then to the downside, it's going to be like that. That's amazing. I wasn't even paying attention. Let's go back to the 30. Okay, look at that. There it is. It came back up. Now it's coming back down. Now, obviously, because I changed time frames, this needs to be adjusted a little bit. Activate. Because it would be touching. Just like that. All right, so it moved down, came back up, didn't go all the way through, came back up, touched the top. Now it's moving down. So now I would say it's probably more likely that at some point it's going to come back down through here and touch this. Again, probably not today, maybe not today, but maybe the next day or two, and then you would expect to possibly see a bounce and see the 200. Here comes the 200. The 200 maybe is going to get up here tomorrow or the next day. So that would make a lot of sense too. Like, let's say it doesn't even get down here and it chops around a little bit and then eventually comes down. About the time the 200 gets up there, makes sense, right? We'd have some confluence with a couple of different support areas. But there we go again. Here is your broadening triangle or your expanding range. And you can see how price likes to test it. Price likes to push its boundaries. There's a lot of people who only ever look for tightening ranges or contracting ranges. Okay, but an expanding range happens just as often. They just don't see it because you train your mind to look for certain things. So if you're only looking for contracting ranges, your mind's going to be blind to all these expanding ranges. Why do we like expanding ranges? Is because it gives us magnitude, right? It tells us what's likely to happen in terms of a move. Okay, now, like from here, it didn't come all the way back down to here this time, but it did come back up and test exactly where it should have, and then it's moving back down. Now, at one point, it's probably highly likely it is going to come all the way down here and test because we just see it over and over and over again. So I'll leave this on here. This is CODX, but on CODX, somebody could have had 2 chances to profit today. Could have took that initial 75-cent move to the upside. I think it was slightly over 75, might have been like 78 cents. Could have took that, and then when price started to come back, maybe you get out with 70 cents or 65 cents profit, which on a $15 name, right, that's going to be a decent amount of profit. Then you go short when you take out opening price level, that's the aggressive play, or you go short when you take out the top of the inside candle, which would have been right here, okay, and you still, 1440, 1374, even if you did that, you would have had about another 65 cents there. But if you took the aggressive play, which would have been when it reversed back through the open, that's almost $15 down to 30. So that would have been like about $1.25. And again, on a $15 name, that's a lot. So you had 2 chances to profit here. Keep going down through. Oh, you know what? We had that alert go off on the market and I never went back up. I am so sorry. All right, here we are. Okay, so we finally broke through here and we got above here and we popped up like we thought. Okay, now so far we haven't held this wick. We're right at it right now. But once we broke this level, I'll get in just a little bit closer. Once we broke here, it popped us up to here. Then once we broke there, it popped us up to here. Okay, but we haven't held this yet. To get a good size pop, we need to hold this. We need to hold this, and we're right at it right now. So let me put an alert up a little bit higher. There's my alert. Create. Okay, and now I can move this one up. I'll move it up just below this candle. There we go. So now I got one above and one below. And now we can go back and look at some other stuff. All right, let me see. DPZ I know was on our list. Let's just take a look. Okay, so DPZ was an inside candle. It never took out the top, and then it's come back through, and it took out the bottom. All right, let's see if it gave us what kind of move. 63.91. Okay, so over $2. Gave us over $2 from the trigger point. Now, again, aggressive play would be this came up, it never took out the top, and once it comes back down through and takes out the open, you could try to go short there, anticipating that it's going to come back through the range, which it did. And you would just have your stop right above there. Okay, does that make sense? That's if you want to be aggressive. So it moved up, it couldn't take the top of the inside candle out, then it reversed, came back down. When it takes out, this is opening price right here. When it takes that out, you could go short, anticipating that it's going to move back through the range, which it did. Okay, and you would just have a stop just above there. Okay, wouldn't be putting yourself at hardly any risk at all. If you would have entered up here on an aggressive play, you would have made over $7. Over $7 to the downside. Okay, if you waited for the trigger, which is the safer play, you made $2. Okay, but if you wanted to be aggressive, then you could have entered here, and it would have been aggressive. Look at the 20. The 20 didn't stop it, but right there was the 20. But the aggressive play would have been over $7. Okay, a little bit more advanced when it comes to price action. I'll start showing you these things as we go along, right? Because, you know, there are a lot of little things you could do, and it depends on your risk tolerance. I don't take many of those plays myself because I'm conservative. But if you like to be aggressive, you could be aggressive there without like really risking much. All right, let's see here. Let's see if there's something else in here I want to look at. I know NOC. Yep, Northrop. Let's look at it on the daily. Okay, so we had a hammer, gapped up. It started to come back. Once it comes back through, you can go long, right? So when we gap up above a hammer, above an inside candle, right? Above an outside candle, or when you gap down, as long as it's going your direction, you can go, you take it, right? You take it. Here, it tried to spike down just a little bit, but once it came back through and took out opening price range, you enter right there, 341.96, so let's say 342. 342, and it's been as high as 346.35, so over $4. This is on Northrop Grumman, defense stock. Simple as that. Okay, we got exactly what we were looking for. We had a hammer on the daily right here. We gapped up above. It started to come back this way, but then it reversed and went our direction. you can enter as soon as it takes out opening price, and you would have got over $4. Then obviously as it started coming back, just up to you on when you want to get out. Let me look here. I just want to see if there's anything on the screen. Okay, yes, it's still going up. We'll go back and take a look. Okay, we'll go back and take a look. But you see that play. There's your hammer, gapped up, came down. You enter when it takes out opening price, and then you get out whenever you want, but you could have got over $4 there. So let's go back and look at the market. We get back to the 30-minute. Okay, there we go. We're starting to get a little bit more of a move now. Okay, what I told you, if we could get above here, we can maybe get more of a pop. I'm trying to remember what those next levels were. Was it like 27.7750 might have been one, and I know up in the 28.84 and 28.85, I know they were levels as well. Okay, but I think one of those first smaller wicks was like 27.75, something like that. So let's do this. Let's put an alert up here. We'll see if we can keep moving that direction. I'll put it at 28.77. All right. We already looked at Netgear. I'm going to keep working down through some of these. Roku. Let's look at Roku. I think I want to look at it on the daily first. Okay, Roku was also a hammer. Let me get closer. Okay, so it was a dragonfly doji, which is a variation of a hammer. It gapped up. It did the same thing. It barely came down. Then it came back through. So opening price, once it took it out, 126.30, and it went as high as 130.36. There's another $4 move. Another $4. Highly probable play because you don't enter until it comes back through and takes out that opening price. Okay, so here is our hammer-like, because it's a dragonfly doji. Okay, so we gapped up above it, comes down here to the 20, reverses back, it takes out opening price, and it went up $4. Okay, so we've seen that now twice. We already looked at shop. Okay, SFIX. Okay, this was another one that was on there. Looks like it's starting to get some movement now. It's been kind of here's where it opened. It shot up right here. Remember how I think I had put in the notes the other day when I added this one that 1645 was an important level. Imagine that, right? Look, right up to it, then it reversed, then it kind of sold down. Whoops, I'm sorry. I'm on the daily. But that's where I got it from, right? Look at how many times this level barely got through, rejected right at it, okay? Now we're starting to push higher. And if we can clear up here, I think this is 1699. That's 1693. Maybe it's this one. 1690. Thought there was one that was 1699, but maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it was 1693 because that's I had 1701 because I just wanted to barely get above one that I thought was 1699. That's irrelevant. If we get up here and take this out, okay, this is the daily. I want to show you. Then we're getting back into this gap here, and that's what we've been testing, right? So here it came back and rejected the gap. Came back, rejected the gap. Came back, rejected the gap. But as you can see, making a little bit of penetration each time. Comes back up, rejects it, comes back up, rejects it. Same thing here. Now, as you can see, now we're starting to kind of move up. Let's do it like this. Make this bigger for you. And then I can draw it in. And then just go right across here. Actually, I could have been right down there. All right, so we're breaking above it right now. See this? We're breaking above it right now. But you see how we're tightening? Here is our contracting range, right? And we're starting to break out of it. We went down early in the day. Okay, I didn't think we would go down because the market overall has been showing some strength, but this is why you don't know, right? You don't guess, but now it's finally coming back the direction that we thought. So this has all been happening since we've been on here, because right before we got on here, I looked at this and we were at like 1649, 1650, and now we're at 1683, 84. If we can clear 1701, this thing has room to pop. All right, this thing has room to pop. Now this, I found this was a weekly inside candle, but it had, if I remember right, it had higher time frame confluence. So let's look. Because sometimes you're going to dig a little deeper. Okay, yeah, here's your weekly inside candle right there. Okay, oops, sorry guys. Right here, weekly inside candle. We've taken out the top now. All right, what are we like on the monthly? Okay, monthly we're green. Obviously we know weekly we're green. We're starting a new week and we're now taking out the top of the green inside candle. Daily, okay, daily we're green, and we were green, right? Okay, so higher time frame confluence or agreement. Monthly green, weekly green, daily green. And then if I go back to the 30-minute, okay, here we go. See this? This is the last 30-minute candle. It's starting to go. If it takes this out, man, this thing could really rip. Another reason I like this was because not only did it have, on the bigger picture, we had higher time frame agreement, we also had a relatively small float. It was about 50 million. Okay, now this Stitch Fix, it's a bigger name, even though it's only a 16, $15, $16, $17 stock. It's a bigger name, all right? It's not one of your typical, $2 to $10 names that, don't do much. And obviously, as we already looked, here in the recent past, if I go back to the daily, it had a big drop right here. Okay, we had this big drop. Okay, so it was up here, let's see, up here around almost 30 bucks. And this was back in late February, so not that long ago. So then it had this big drop. Let's see, it probably had bad earnings. Actually, earnings weren't that bad. They beat earnings. There has to be a reason why it dropped. There has to be a reason why it dropped. But it dropped. Okay, they beat earnings. Even after they beat earnings, they still dropped some more. Then it started, chopping a little bit. And then right here is where we started to put in this contracting range. And right now we're trying to pop out of the top of it. And we don't have that much further to go. I mean, really, we've already figured out, I think, that 1701 is actually even a little bit high. Yeah, anything above 1693, and we're almost there now. So like 1695, 1697 and higher, and it holds there. Okay, this thing could really explode. So 50 million, that's sort of what the float is. That's pretty small for a name like this, and it's like 37% short float. So we could potentially get a short squeeze. So lower float for a so-called bigger name, contracting range, right? Contracting range, inside weekly candle, which we've already taken out, and a short float, a high short float. I told you before, anything over 25% on short float is considered high. This is at 37%. So all that means is if we really start to see some upward movement, shorts could get nervous. And then if shorts start to rush to cover, that's what creates a short squeeze. It just propels the name up. Okay, so that's what I would be looking for here. That's why I added it to our list over the weekend. When I was doing my research, I came across it. And what do? We're always trying to put a bunch of different factors in play. So the reason I didn't see it at first is because it was a weekly inside candle and not a daily inside candle. But as soon as I saw that it was monthly green, weekly green, daily green, and then I went over and I looked and the float was relatively low and the short float was high, I'm like, this is something that we need to have on our list. Okay, so right now, it's playing out. Okay, I'd love to see this thing just pop. All right, let's see what else. What else here? Tilray. Okay, so Tilray. All right, Tilray was something that I got into on Friday before the end of the day. Okay, and why? Okay, because we broke out of this on one of our previous webinars. I must have drew this in, or live streams. Okay, see the contracting range? This is why it's important. I'm always telling you, I'm looking for ranges, either way, expanding or contracting. So here's a contracting range on Tilray, and then boom, we break out of it. All right, so this was Friday. Let me squeeze it in for you. Okay, this was Friday. We break out of it, and we start moving up. Okay, this is this morning, and we start moving up, and then you see how we based right here. So we moved up, we based, and then I entered because of this. Okay, I seen this, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. We just broke out. We just broke out of a contracting range. We had a nice move up. Now we're basing. If we start to go up, this thing could really pop. All right, so just at small position, speculation play, but again, all this stuff starts to add up, right? Go back here, it's kind of been contracting. Then we break out, then we get this base, then we start to go higher, and then look what it did today. Pop. Okay, so I got out this morning. Now, I got out with a 40% gain. I think it was almost exactly 40% to the tick. If I would have stayed in, I could have got more, but again, I think I put it in the notes. I locked in what I knew was solid. Remember the opening candle in the market? It was going back and forth, back and forth. Well, so was Tilray at the time. It was going up, and then it would come back down. Then it would go up, then it would come back down. And in my opinion, it wasn't worth it, right? I'm up 40%. Okay, why not lock that in and not worry about it going against me? Okay, so I probably got out somewhere in here, and you see what happened. It ramped up to here, and then it sold off. Okay, so I got out a little bit early, but again, you don't know. You got to know this in real time, right? So let's go to like a 5 minute. Let's go to a 5 minute candle. And let's see, here we go. All right, so here you go. You open, and you see this wick? That's what happened in the first 5 minutes. Okay, it was doing this. It was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was just like, you know what? Because I got out 2 minutes in. I'm like, you know what? I'm up 40%. I'm just locking it in. So I locked it in because I was afraid it was going to come back, try to fill this gap. All right. And then it finally did. The market started to go higher. Tilray started to go higher. CGC, which is also a weed stock, started to go higher. And then it moved up to here. Okay. I'm perfectly fine. I never have FOMO. I never have FOMO. I mean, instead of 40%, maybe I would have made 80%. Okay. So what? All right. That's the way it is. I made 40%. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Okay. TNK. Let's go back. Let's go to the daily. And we'll get off of here. We've already been on here an hour. We'll get off of here in just a minute. Okay. So here's TNK. Here's our inside candle. We gapped up. It tried to push lower. It couldn't do it. It comes back through. Right here is where you enter. Okay, open 24.46, so say 24.50, and it went as high as 25.99. So it went up almost $1.50. Okay, from right there. And on a $24, $25 stock, that's a good move. That's a good move. So you enter right there, and it come all the way up here, and it starts to go back. I had that alert there because that's as high as it went. I was seeing if it was going to take it out again. So even if you get out of there with $1.25, that's a good move on a $24, $25 stock. See, it gapped up over the inside candle, tries to come down, takes it out. It's going your way. You get in. You have a tight stop. If you want to put your stop below there, you can. Put it anywhere you want. Right? Simple, simple, simple. Now, Tesla wasn't on our list, but we're going to just take a look at it. Okay. Tesla, just all strength today. All strength. Opened at 737.61 and has been as high as 799.49. Very strong day for Tesla. Very strong day. And this, you guys know how I feel about Tesla. It just makes me laugh. This on the heels of, they had some news come out that they may have, I don't think they were saying they intentionally did it, but they had put out news a week or two ago that they were calling all these employees back in different factories and all that. Now they're saying that might not happen, right? So that's a little on the edge of, okay, yeah, did you put all that news out before to try to get a ramp or whatever? But you would think that maybe, if anything, that would cause some skittishness, but no, it's been strong all day. Okay, TTD was on our list. Inside candle. Okay, inside candle, gapped up. Okay, now it came down, then it came back through. Open was 263.30. It's been as high as 268.78. If you played it correctly, that's a $5.50 move. Okay, from here. I mean, these candles look small, but that's because this is a pretty nice move. Okay, so same thing, just like the other ones. Gapped up, tried to come down, then it come back through the open. That's where you would enter. It went up $5.50, and now it's come all the way back to form a doji. Okay? You see how a lot of these patterns have played out the same right off of our watch list today. And that's probably about all we'll look at for now. Let's go back and look at the market, and then we'll be done. Let me get back to the 30-minute. Okay, so we popped up. We've kind of come back down. We've been as high as 28.75.50. So not quite up to that 28.77 area. But this could just be a resting candle before an end of the day pop or an end of the day sell-off, right? We don't know yet. Okay, but we knew this, right? We knew this. This was the move. Okay, this was our what we call a reversal. It got just outside of here, formed a hammer or hammer-like candle. Your entry is right there, right above there. Okay, we know if it takes this out, it's likely to take this out, and it did. It took them both out, and it ended up getting as high as right over here. So let's see what this would have been. 28.60, so 28.65.50, and this went as high as 28.75.50. 28.65, 28, yep. So what's $10, right? $10 move from there to there. And today, today's range has only been about $30, right? We opened at 28.49, and we've been as high as 28.75. So not even $30, 26, about $26. So if you could capture 10 of that, you've captured over a third of the range of the entire day. All right. Anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions before we get off here? We've been on here about an hour and 10 minutes. We typically go about 45 minutes to an hour. Just had a lot of stuff right off the watch list I wanted to cover today. So, okay. Well, if nobody has anything, enjoy the rest of your day. Trade them well. If you're in anything, we're in power hour now, so just be careful. Make sure you protect any profits. Be careful about holding anything overnight unless you're really, really confident, in a longer term setup. But other than that, okay, let's have a great end to the day, and then I'll see you a little bit later. Okay, bye-bye.